what can we expect to see when inflation starts to slow down? So gold recessions are typically a positive environment for gold. It behaves well and it works as a good insurance policy or a backstop. In the 2019 and Gold We Trust report, you showed gold was able to, and I'll use your words, superbly compensate for equity losses in the early phases of a recession. So when we come to the end of this period of stagflation, or if this recession we're currently in, what do you think gold will look like at that point? So do we see gold coming back off its highs and coming back down to this region, or does it go into a new era or a new paradigm of pricing?
Well, I think that we've seen the highs in inflation for this inflation wave. And I don't want to make too many analogies with COVID, but we've also seen a number of COVID waves. And actually, the next one, is it the fourth or the fifth, whatever, is already developing over here. But obviously, it's not that severe anymore, and we know how to deal with it and how to live with it. But what I can tell you, Michael, over here in Europe, and I'm seeing the same thing talking to friends from Australia, from the US, and it's probably similar in New Zealand. I think that inflation now really is a topic again. So this is really the conversation. Well, prices are so high when we go out for dinner, if we take a vacation. This is really like a normal conversation that people nowadays have. And I'm hearing it more and more often. I think that inflation is very much of a psychological thing. So we are living now in this. We are increasingly getting a inflationary mindset, which is very, very dangerous. And I think that this is really what central bankers are very, very nervous about. This unanchoring of inflation expectations. So I think this is really crucial to understand. I think that based on what financial markets see at the moment, with break-even rates, with inflation expectations, with also what I've mentioned, inflation-sensitive sectors like commodities, for example. They are telling me, well, inflation numbers will come down, and this will also be, some sort of will give central bankers more leeway to start this monetary turnaround, because they will say, well, we did a tremendous job. We got inflation under control. Now we can become less aggressive, and I think this is all. This is something what the price of gold already is starting to discount. Now, I think that, and we wrote about that at length in this year's edition of the report, but also last year. I think there are many structural and long-term drivers for inflation, and it's always many different factors that influence inflation. But I think what's really important as a key takeaway is that this great moderation that we saw, basically after Paul Volcker in 1980 broke inflation. Since then, we have seen constantly falling inflation rates. And I think now we're really starting to move into a new inflationary paradigm. That doesn't necessarily mean that, we will stay at 7 or 8% inflation forever. But I think that inflation rates will settle at a higher level. 3, 4, 5% will be the new normal.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think due to this great moderation, basically nobody is still alive or let's say active in financial markets who really knows how to navigate in an inflationary environment. So many investors are really caught at the wrong foot, and they want to use the same measures and models like they used to do, and like they used to work previously. And I think what we really saw since the beginning of the year is that the 60/40 portfolio, the balanced portfolio, the conservative portfolio, whatever, doesn't really work anymore. Just a little anecdote. I attended a couple of summer cocktail parties, invitations from big banks, and I talked to some private bankers and said, what are your clients saying? Well, the first quarter was a disaster. So their clients were down between 8 and 12%.
Yeah.
Second quarter is even worse. So actually, we're now at the middle of this year, and clients get the information that their portfolios are down 20, 25% plus 8% inflation on top.
Yeah.
So that's an enormous amount of wealth destruction happening in a pretty short time. And I think that many people will now, asset allocators, big pension fund managers, they will now kind of reconsider, and they will do research and look for good portfolio diversifiers. They will look for assets that really work in an inflationary or stagflationary environment. And I think that, all roads lead to gold. And I think that gold has done a tremendous job as a portfolio stabilizer, and it will do a tremendous job as a portfolio diversifier. So, therefore, I think that gold will become, less of a, satellite investment and more of a core investment again. And I remember many banks, they said, well, clients should have a 1 to 2% portfolio allocation in gold. I said that's nonsense. It doesn't move the needle. Yeah, it doesn't have any effect
Yeah.
as a portfolio stabilizer. But I think, going forward, many big banks and investment houses will say, well, between 8 and 15% in gold really makes a difference. And this investment demand, this will really move the needle. I think that's really crucial to understand. So that has been a very, very long answer to your question, but I think that going forward, I think that's a pretty good setup for gold. And people tend to forget, we're, even in dollar terms, we're not too far away from all-time highs.
Yeah.
And I think once they hit the pause button, I think we will go to all-time highs pretty quickly.
New Zealand Bullion Depository provides safe, secure, discreet storage of precious metals for sensible investors around the world. If you would like more information on gold storage or New Zealand, please go to our website nzbd.co.nz.